What is your "you can't make this stuff up" story? Here we go. Back in 6th grade, picture day was coming around for the school yearbooks. Pretty normal since it happens every year. Except my sister, 4th grade at the time, wanted to dress up as a banana for the yearbook picture. My principal is not having it. So picture day comes up, and my mom come onto campus with the banana suit for my sister. My sister gets into the outfit, in the bathroom, and comes out for the picture as my mom watches by. Turns out the principal viewed this as inappropriate behavior, and called the cops, to escort my mom off campus, and made my sister change back to regular clothes. So 3 cops shows up to my mother in one courtyard of the school, as this is an outdoor school, since this is Arizona, to escort her off. Which I'm immediately notified of when my classmate yells across the class, /you/Linkster, your mom is getting arrested outside. Great, just what I wanted to hear. The next day my mom is notified that she is banned from campus, but has been invited over to sort out the event. My sister takes a normal picture, but who cares about that? So my parents go over to sort out the event, except my mother arrives in a banana suit to the meeting with my principal. They did get it sorted out, no banana picture, but they dropped the charges of unsupportive conduct. I was attending a conference for engineering students, and there was a closing dinner gala with a chance to network with representatives from other companies. Though not necessarily my number one choice, I decided to sit down at the BP table. After a few minutes, the waiters offered to serve us iced tea. Right after they served us all iced tea, as we were talking about things, one of the BP reps spills iced tea all over the white tablecloth. He tried drying it with his napkin, but the spill just kept spreading. I was trying so hard to not laugh out loud and say, when will the spills end? That would not be good networking. TL. Dr. BP spills again. I apologize for length. My family ran a gas station / subway sandwich shop combination. Since it was in a lower income area, jobs were in short supply and we ended up having most of a family working for us. A 45-year-old ugly overweight mom, a 50-year-old dad, a huge 22-year-old son, a 16-year-old daughter, and even the daughter's smallish 18-year-old boyfriend. 16-year-old comes in to work her shift, and she is super excited saying she was engaged, and showing her plastic ring from one of those grocery store 25-cent machines. Boyfriend moves into family home a few days later. Couple months go by and 16-year-old comes in for shit crying. She caught her mom having sex with her fiancé. Make matters worse, her fiancé was to work the sandwich side until later that afternoon with her. The mom was to come in later to work till close. The son was working the register that night for gas station and the dad was completely unaware of what had happened as he had worked early shift at gas station and hadn't gone home. Knowing the shitstorm waiting to explode, but also knowing that it wasn't my place to say anything, I was completely stunned and afraid of what was going to happen. Father leaves and heads home. Fiancé shows up, gives everyone this stupid grin, and goes to work. 16-year-old cries and makes scene. Brother finally goes over and asks what's wrong and she tells. He sorta hugs sister, puts head down, and walks over to his register. Mother arrives. Brother and mother say nothing to each other. Fiancé makes another stupid grin. I think we are safe as the night is nearly over. Father arrives at just before closing. 16-year-old had texted him. He's not sure if true or bullshit, but takes daughter outside to talk. She cries, he hugs, he walks inside, and sorta calmly asks fiancé to come outside, which the fiancé refuses. The mom is completely in a panic mode and son is just ignoring the universe. Suddenly dad snaps and the violence starts. He jumps over register. Fiancé runs throwing lettuce at the guy and brandishing one of those small little bread cutting knives. Dad grabs one of the little knives and the fiancé runs. Mom's yelling stop. Daughter's calling mom a whore. Brother is just running a register. Customers are completely freaking out and I'm just dialing 911 and yelling for everyone to calm down. Eventually the cops show up and calm everything down. The family all leaves and I get to close down the place with just the fiancé. I ask him what the hell he was thinking. I just needed to know what my wife will be like in 30 years. And before you ask, yeah, sometimes I did both the same night. Apostrophe. I told this before a couple times. Not me, but a friend got a DUI. When he was getting booked at the station, he was sitting at a desk across from the cop doing the paperwork. My friend realized he still had a bag of weed in his pocket. He sees a Worcester basket on the side of the desk. He slowly reaches in his pocket, drops the bag of weed into the Worcester basket. Next morning, he's getting processed out and sitting at the same desk. He glances down into the Worcester basket and the bag of weed is still there. He casually leans down, slips the weed back into his pocket, leaves the police station with his weed. Went camping with my family and we went on a portage through a lake. Me and my brother got let off at an island in the middle of the lake to explore. I had to poop, so I found a tree to lean against and do my business. Now we were also really into tree climbing, and this tree I pooped at looked like a decent tree to climb. I went around to the other side and started climbing until there weren't any more branches on that side. Climbed around and stepped on a big branch, but it was hollow and fell 14 feet into my own poop. TLDR, pooped at a tree, climbed the tree, branch broke, fell into my own poop. I was in college and there was a pretty wild party that I remember almost none of. About 2 to 3 weeks later my phone rang. Some girl claiming she got my number at a party recently. I don't remember the most recent party, so it seems reasonable. She tells me she's 19 and from a town about 30 miles away from the college and was visiting a friend there and ended up at the party. We talked for a few weeks and red flags flying up left and right. As a kid's dad died in a car crash. She called me one night crying, told me she just found some paperwork proving she was adopted. Now I'm feeling like running fast. We don't talk for about a week, and she calls me claiming to be drunk wandering the campus. I ask her where she is, so we can find her a safe place to stay. She says a group of guys invited her to a party, and she was going. An hour or two passes, and she calls me back, upset saying the guys are creeping her out and getting way too grabby. I want to know where she is, so I can call police to get out there or round up some of my buddies and see what's happening. She refuses. I got a text saying, "Hey, this is Brian. Well, take good care of this young lady tonight." I freaked the fuck out because I know of a gang rape in progress and I'm powerless to stop it since I don't know where she is. She called me before from her parents' house, and so I called her dad because she told me she had a smartphone. This was 2011 and they weren't everywhere yet and it had GPS. Her dad answers and I explain what's happening and how we can find her. He stops me and says, "Emily is right here. How do you know her and how old are you?" I tell I'm 20 and I honestly don't remember how we met since it was at a party I blacked out at. He tells me Emily is 14 and has never been to College Station. What the fuck? We talk and he explains that she is a diagnosed pathological liar and he thanked me for alerting him so they could take her back to a doctor. To this day I have no fucking clue who she was or how she got my number. I've worked for a nan convention for the last 10 years. Early on in my employment, I was invited to attend my first ever uchich, which is essentially a big party thrown for the Japanese guests. I think I was maybe 19 at the time. I wanted to make a good impression, but I didn't speak much Japanese, so I kind of did general drink duty and sat on the sidelines, hanging out with some of our translators. Anyway, one of our translators, we'll call him Jake, fully aware of my awkwardness, says, "Hey, see that Japanese guy standing at the bar? Take him a drink and say something in Japanese, kintamanashi. It means, nice to meet you." I repeated it a few times until he was satisfied that I'd remember it, then mustered my courage, grabbed a drink from the bartender and brought it over to the Japanese guy and repeated my new phrase as best I could. The guy accepted the drink but gave me a totally baffled look, and then I heard Jake just absolutely die laughing. It turns out that kintamanashi means I have no testicles, and the random Japanese guy turned out to be the vice president of Sony Music Japan. Jake has a really twisted sense of humor, but he's a great guy, and we are still friends to this day. He must have explained the prank to the guy because nothing ever came of it except a funny story that people drag out to embarrass me from time to time. Myself and a group of friends went camping for my birthday last year. The last night we were there, some geese came into the campsite. Only one person was awake and thought it would be good to feed the geese. Apparently, this friend was also blackout drunk and had stripped naked sometime after the rest of us hit the sack. Two of the people we were with say they woke up to loud flapping noises, being scratched and feeling wetness in the tent. My blacked out friend had made friends with two geese he was calling Fred and Ted and brought one of them into the tent. They screamed at him to get the goose out, to which he replied, "But they are my friends and they are just trying to chill." They got him and the goose out, but he became completely confused and enraged in his drunken state. I found him in his car in the morning. At that time I learned he had wandered in the woods and into someone else's campsite completely naked and flipped a damn picnic table in his drunken rage, all while a flock of geese followed him around attacking his ankles. He realizes how reckless he was that night now, but no one got hurt and we are able to laugh about how ridiculous the whole thing was. I'm a toll collector and once, while at work I saw a man stop his car in the middle of about 8 lanes of heavy traffic and start walking back towards us. Apparently he didn't put his car in park because his car began rolling and rolled through 4 lanes of traffic, went off the road and went down into a ditch. He finally notices us telling him to turn around after his car was in the ditch out of sight and starts yelling that someone stole his car. Honestly, at least once a week you find yourself in a can't make this shit up scenario when you work as a toll collector.